Alright, everybody. Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. Alright, I got a lot of people out there who have fielded or asked me a bunch of questions about gear. I've spent a lot of time in the field, war, not war, operations, training, what have you. And I've been in South America, all over America and Canada, Europe, England, or the UK. I did not go to Scotland, but I saw Ireland. And I've operated in all of those environments. And to include up in Alaska when we did Arctic survival training, which was... it was a kick in the teeth. So, and I've already covered a bunch of those in some of the Lair videos in the past. You guys can, go dig those up and give them a watch. I pretty much covered my entire 33 years of service. Told a bunch of stories. But, and I have covered some equipment, but I haven't really gone into a lot of detail. The first wave, well, that was about voting. Wah. The second wave, that was about the pill. Double wah. The third wave, it was about securing more rights than men. What does the fourth wave look like? Find out and arm yourself against the war for your soul and this country. You need these books here. Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism, Volumes 1 and 2. They're on sale now. Click on the link below in the description, because if you save masculinity, you're gonna wind up saving the world. I had some questions about sleeping bags. One of the main questions I was asked about the sleeping bags is, what rating should I get them down to? Because you can go down pretty far. What we have here on the screen is a rustic Elk Creek Hunter, which is rated to negative 35 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty damn cold. With this particular sleeping bag, you'd be pretty good in the winter, as long as it didn't get to, they say negative 35. I would not want to test that. I'd be kind of dicey around negative 25 degrees. But when you look at this one, you're going to see how much this thing, let's see. Okay, yeah, this particular sleeping bag, it packs in at 17 pounds. 17 pounds. So basically, this particular sleeping bag, the weight itself is disqualifying it from being something that you're going to carry around with you on a regular basis on your back. Now, you could pack it into your location, and like if you have a cabin or a tent, leave it there, and then, you're free to move around. But if you are on the move and you need to pack all your shit up, carry it in, carry it out, and move around with it on you at the same time, kind of like soldiers do, this is way too heavy. Okay, now, the Army has an extreme cold weather sleeping bag from back in the day, weighed about the same. I used it in Alaska when we did the Arctic survival, and it was so damn cold up there when we were doing that, you had to sleep in a snow cave and light a candle inside that so you wouldn't, freeze to death. Because there's this, when it gets down to like negative 50-ish, that's when people go hypothermic and they die pretty quickly. Okay, and when it's that cold, when somebody goes hypothermic, you have a very short window, and then it's all over. It's done.
All right, now we're going to go look at some other stuff here. Okay, now I shop a lot at Sportsman's Guide. Let's see, SURPL. Let's see what they got for surplus. Now, their surplus, they like when they first started out, they had all kinds of army surplus. Now, that is shrinking rapidly. I have no idea why that is. You can still get field gear there, but it's not army surplus. And it might not be the stuff that's given to the military and, some of that civilian, equipment, which is good, but it's very pricey. If you are trying to, get your kit up and running on a budget, military surplus is the way to go. All right, here's Ranger Joe's. Now, you cannot go onto an active duty post and there not being a Ranger Joe's there. Okay. I believe there's one in virtually, everywhere I've gone that's an active duty post, there's a Ranger Joe's. All right. Now, Ranger Joe's has a lot of actual military surplus for the most part. I'm going down some of it right here. Now, this is just sleeping stuff. Now, if you're going down to South America or somewhere in the South that has a lot of mosquitoes, you're going to need to get your hands on one of these. This is a bug net. All right, when I was down in South America, they warned us not to sleep on the ground. Now, I actually took them took the warning at face value. And when I went out to the field, I always had a hammock, a bug net, 2 ponchos, and a poncho liner. I had one set of clothing in a double plastic bag along with said poncho liner, so it never got wet. Okay, because down there in that environment, it's 90, 95 degrees, 100% of humidity. It probably rains once or twice a day, depending upon where you are on the continent down there. And it sucks. And then when the sun goes down, which it does quickly down there, it drops down to like 60, 65 degrees. And when you're used to walking around at 95 degrees with 90%, 100% humidity, that's really goddamn cold. So what I would do is I would strip down, have my PT shorts on, and get in the hammock, have the poncho liner, have the bug net, and I would have a poncho over me to keep the rain off because it usually rained every night. Now, if I was doing full tactical where enemy contact was likely, that would not happen. When you're in an environment like that, you just sit down and rest when you can and pray for the best. I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. All right, now, right here we have the poncho liner or the whoopee. They have different colors. It seems like every branch of the service now has their own particular type of whoopee and blah, blah. The Marines, the Army, Air Force, Navy. But this here is, in my opinion, one of the best inventions or pieces of kit that's ever been issued to soldiers, period, bar none. This thing has saved my ass. I've kept a poncho liner on my LBE and a poncho, and there were times I didn't have my rucksack with me. We were doing long movements, E&Es. That's all you had was a poncho and a poncho liner, and I made it work. I stayed warm. Everything was good. Okay, and let's see what we got over here. Here we go. Now, this is an actual hardcore Army surplus. This is Army Surplus Warehouse. Let's see if we bring it down into the screen here. Okay, what they have here is mainly, surplus items. Okay, now here we have ammo crates, 81 millimeter mortar crates, 50 cal. Now these 50 cal ammo boxes used for $10. That's a damn good deal. All right, now moving forward, some of you guys out there might have to, start doing some cache operations. I'm going to be doing a couple videos on that in the future. And a big thing about cache operations is you got to have waterproof cases that won't crush under the weight when you bury the stuff. Because there's a lot of guys that, actually not, I've seen this before, where we did some caches, we buried some, some military equipment, and dug it up 6 months later, and we had barrels with, rifles with bent barrels, a lot of corrosion, stuff like that. Because when you're putting stuff down, 2, 3, 4 feet deep in the earth, that all has weight, and it tends to screw up your stuff. So you want to have a ammo case or something you can use to put your items you wish to cache in them, so you can put them in the dirt. Okay, now the M65 field jacket liner, I wear them all the time. We call them the smoking jacket. The thing rocks. Love it. $15 is a good deal. All right, so we're going down here. You're seeing the prices of this stuff. It's not that crazy right now. So you can literally get yourself, a couple field jacket liners, maybe an old sleeping bag, a rucksack, a compass. You can pretty much give yourself a basic setup and equipment for probably $250. Okay, let's look at here. Genuine surplus. Let's see what they got here. Okay, all right. And you're going to see a lot of this pattern here. This is the old ACUs or whatever they call them. This is a complete joke camo pattern that somebody duped the Army into buying. I absolutely hated these things. They glowed in the dark. They're absolutely worthless. Okay, you're going to see some foreign stuff here. Now, just because it was used by a foreign army doesn't mean it doesn't work. Okay, I know there's a lot of people, I only want U.S. Army surplus. All right. Okay, but if whatever you're looking for, if they don't have it, you might have to find a substitute. There you go. All right. Now, you don't need to get your hands on grenade pouches. We're not dealing with that. At least not yet. I hope not. But hey, look at this. $189 for a 50,000 pound swivel to tow on. Not bad. Okay, I know lots of guys who buy all kinds of stuff from the surplus market and use it in the civilian world. Okay, here we go. This boot here from the Marine Corps, this thing is awesome. Now, usually the Marine Corps' equipment sucks. They get the cast-offs from the Navy. Their budget is shit. But what they don't skimp on is boots, weapons. Everything else is negotiable. All right, let's see what else we got here. I'm just going to go a few pages in. It's late night. Okay, again, here's the U.S. Marine Corps Poncho Liner. They want $60 for it. You can get it for $25 if you just get a standard pattern. Let's see what we got. This here. This Army improvised one-man combat shelter. Okay, other than the camo pattern, this thing is actually pretty good. I've used this quite a few times. Now, I didn't carry it in my rucksack. It was in a vehicle. Because if you need to carry stuff, you need to look for stuff that you put in your pack that's going to have more than just one use. Okay, so you can get, say you have 2 ponchos, you could build a shelter out of that, and with mosquito net, you get all of the same benefits. It's that equipment will be used for multiple tasks. Okay, here's the canteen cup, unbreakable dinner plate, yeah, right. Mustang Survival Underwater Demo Team UDT Life Vest. That's $105. That's a big mouth. That's a mouthful of words right there. And here's some of the military handsets and what have you. Now, all of this stuff, for the most part, is out of active service. But if you're in a National Guard unit and say you have an older radio set that uses this type of stuff and you lose the handset, now, you have 2 choices. You can sign a statement of charges to pay for the Army price that they paid for this, which anywhere from $150 to $500. Or you order it for $30, throw it in your kit, turn it in, and you're good to go. Okay, now usually when something like that is needed, it's better to have it ahead of time. I knew lots of camo guys who had all kinds of extra handsets and stuff they bought on their own dime because the shit would break or they'd lose it and it needed to be replaced. Here's the old government issue helmet. When they first started issuing these helmets out, it cost, and this is in 1988 money, they're about $500. So in 1988, that's equivalent of basically $1,200 to $1,500 today. It's pretty expensive. And they only want $89 for it, $90. Okay, waterproof bags are definitely a must in your equipment. You got to keep your stuff dry because when shit gets wet, it weighs more. All right, now these particular polar fleece foliage jackets, I hate them unless the original ones, and they're the color black. Those ones work well. The rest of these, the wind whips right through them. They're virtually useless other than a pillow. All right, and there is the old assault pack. It's actually pretty good. If you guys are going to college, there you go. Works out just fine. Okay, mattress pad now. All right, we're going to move on to the other one. Now, I'm going to show you guys the sleeping bag that I usually carry if I'm not going to someplace that's going to be 0 degrees or less. If it's going to be 0 degrees or more, I'll stick with one of these. Okay, this is a Merlin 3 sleeping bag. It compresses down to basically the size of a football. And it is, I don't know, I've had no problem with them down to 32 degrees. You add a Poncho Liner, you can take them down to 0. If you have the Gore-Tex bivy bag, you should be just fine. Okay, a lot of times I would go to the field and I would have one of these light sleeping bags, and I'd build a lean-to and a fire-reflecting wall and just have a small fire all night, and I'd be fine. I had another guy ask me some questions about bulletproof vests. He wants to know the difference between the different ratings. All right, so let's go over here and let's look for Kevlar, or let's do Kevlar vests. EVLARVEST. Okay. All right, if you're going to buy soft body armor, don't fuck around and buy anything less than 3A. Okay. 3A body armor will stop pretty much any pistol, and it'll stop shotgun rounds to include slugs. Now, there are some pistol rounds that will go through 3A body armor, and those are like, the 7.62 by 25 millimeter rounds. They're pretty quick. They'll zip right through the front end of one of these. There are some brands of ammunition you can get that will, puncture or defeat the one side of the armor. Now, 3A is not going to stop 223 or 308 rounds, period. Unless you have a hard insert in here, you're going to the hospital or the morgue if you get hit. All right. Now, I'm going down some of these here. You have the plate carriers, the AR-500 plates. Those are way too heavy unless you're in a vehicle or you're standing, guard or something like that. If you're patrolling or maneuvering around, you don't want that. Okay, now let's look at some other plates. I'm not going to even go into the 2A type of soft body armor. As far as I'm concerned, that is all obsolete, and you should not even waste your money. Now, for you guys who are in England or Australia, this is actually very useful. Let's see if it shows up here. All right. I put in anti-slash. All right, now you got the anti-cut gloves. These are used in the fishing industry, especially on boats where they process the fish that are moving around. People always cut themselves. All right, this here, cut-resistant anti-slash clothes. All right, this is the equivalent of a light piece of chainmail. Or if you watch The Hobbit, that mithril chainmail shirt that I think the Hobbit was wearing when he turned back a spear. All right, now I've personally tested this stuff out on a mannequin, and I actually slashed it with that big sword behind me. And did it put a dent in the mannequin? Yes. Did it cut through the actual material? No. Okay, so if you're in England and everyone's getting stab happy and all kinds of crazy shit is going on, $80. $80. It looks like long underwear, and most cops, you know, they're not going to know what it is. You know, they'll pat you down. Most of them don't ask you why you're wearing long underwear. All right, you can get this stuff for your legs as well. So I have a set for the upper body and the lower body. You put a cup on, you know, underneath that to protect your junk. And for the most part, other than, you know, being shot or being hit with a bat or some other like hammer or big, you know, blunt instrument, you're going to be fine. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, now here's the sleeves. You can get these if you want. They work. You know, you could basically wear those over the shirt and have double protection in your forearms. But, you know, if you're in England, Australia, where people are getting all stab happy, especially with what's coming down the pipe, you might want to pick this shit up. Just saying. All right, so if you guys have any more questions in regards to military equipment or other types of surplus items, or you want me to just talk about anything that relates to the military, especially like field training, field exercises, or anything like that, just send them to the email address redonkulas12@gmail.com, and I'll do the best I can to answer your questions for you, or at least point you in the right direction.